Mabuhay! We are from Group 6, the last but not the least reporter. So our topic is all about problem-solving test items. So here's the contents of our report for you to be guided. First is the introduction and definition to be reported by yours truly. Followed by the guidelines to be reported by Miss Lizelle Simorlan. And followed by other guidelines to be reported by Mr. Ray Javier, and followed by the advantages and disadvantages to be reported by Miss Via Tangkison, and last but not the least, the examples to be reported by Miss Marinel Alvarez. So, good day or good night? Good night kay basin mabasa, makita ninyo gabi na, hagok ng uban. And good day kay basin tomorrow na ninyo makitaan. So, good day and good night, classmates and sir. So, I am Narcisa Villegas. I am tasked to report about the definition of problem-solving test items. So, what is problem-solving test items? These present the student with a problem situation or task nga mo require og demonstration sa work procedures. So ipakita sa problem solving tanan mo tanakagig problem solving nga mga test. So di ba ipakita nato atong solution. Kung example is kung math siya ipakita nato giunsa nato pag come up ana nga number or ana nga answer. So mo na ipakita kani nga test items nag-require ni nga ipakita sa estudyante ang ijang nahimo nga trabaho. It tests the ability of the students kung unsaon nila pag-apply ang ilang nahibaw-an from the lessons nga gidiscuss sa teachers. Ari nimo makita kung asa dapit kutob ang ilang nasabtan. It is classified as subjective due to the procedures used to score item responses. So, subjective test evaluated by giving an opinion. It requires students to write and present an original nga answer. So, in problem-solving test items, instructors can assign full or partial credit to either correct or incorrect solution depende sa quality o sa pagkahimo sa estudyante sa ijang trabaho, sa ijang solution. So magdepende ni sa instructor kung pilay ang ijang igrado o magdepende pod sa output sa estudyante. So that's all for the definition. Our next reporter is Ms. Lizelle Simorlan discussing the guidelines of problem-solving test items.
So, good day everyone. I am Lizelle Simorlan. My discussion talks about guidelines in problem-solving test items. So, in every guidelines that I'm going to discuss, I am going to give faulty and good example. Now, the first guideline is identify and explain the problem clearly. So, I will read the examples of undesirable or the faulty. So, Tricia was 135.6 pounds when started with her Zumba aerobics exercises. After 3 months of attending the sessions 3 times a week, her weight was down to 122.8 pounds. About how many pounds did she lose after 3 months? Write your final answer in the space provided and show your computation. So these questions ask about how many and does not indicate whether learners need to give the exact weight or where they need to round off their answers and to what they extend. I'll read again the problem in desirable or in a good. So, Trisha was 135.6 pounds when started with her Zumba aerobics exercises. After 3 months of attending the sessions 3 times a week, her weight was down to 122.8 pounds. Did she lose after 3 months? Write your answer in the space provided and show your computations. Write your exact weight, do not round off. So, as we can see in this kind of questions, here we explain clearly that that is the example of undefine and explain the problem clearly. So the next guideline is be specific and clear of the type of response required from the students. So in this guideline, for example, the instructors need to provide directions with clearly inform the students of the type of response called for. For example, given is undesirable or infaulty. An American tourist in Paris finds that he weighed 70 kilograms when he left the United States he weighed 144 pounds. What was his net change in weight? In this is a faulty question kay di siya specify in the currency should the answer is presented. Now this is the good questions. An American tourist in Paris finds that he weighed 70 kilograms when he left the United States. He weighed 144 pounds. What was his net weight change in pounds? This is the better answer kay it is very specify and provide direction which clearly inform the students of the type of response called for. So the third guideline is specify in the directions the basis for grading students, answers, and procedures. Examples in faulty. VCV consultancy firm was commissioned to conduct a survey on the voters' preferences in Visayas and Mindanao for the upcoming presidential election. In Visayas, 65% are for Liberal Party candidate, while 35% are Nationalist Party candidate. In Mindanao, 70% voters are nationalist, while 30% are LP supporters. A survey was conducted among 200 voters for each region. So, what is probability that the survey will show a greater percentage of Liberal Party supporters in Mindanao than in Visayas region? So, in this question is undesirable kay this specify the basis of grading specify basis of grading the answer. So, I will read the correct or good example. VCV consultancy firm was commissioned to conduct a survey on the voters' preferences in Visayas and Mindanao for the upcoming presidential election. In Visayas, 35% are for Liberal Party candidate, while 35% are Nationalist Party candidate. In Mindanao, 70% voters are nationalist, while 30% are LP supporters. A survey was conducted among 200 voters for each region. What is the probability that the survey will show a greater percentage of Liberal Party supporters in Mindanao than in Visayas region? Please show your solutions to support your answers. Your answers will be graded as follows. So we can see 5 points when you are having a correct or complete answers. So we can see that this is a good example kay it is very specific in the directions, the basis for grading students and answers procedures. Those are the guidelines in constructing good problem-solving test items. Thank you.
The continuation of other guidelines of problem-solving task items is to be reported by Mr. Ray Javier.
Hello and good day to each and every one of you, especially to you, sir. My name is Ray Lavier, and I'll be reporting other guidelines and making problem solving test items. This is a continuation of what Ms. Simmerlan has already discussed earlier, so let's start. So, tip number 4, use figures, conditions, and situations which creates realistic problems. So, understandable. Um, we need to use figures, conditions, and situations that creates realistic problems in making our problem solving test items in order for the students to get a grasp of what they have of integrating what they have learned in school in solving math or science problems. So it makes them relate to their current lives, that this question is very applicable to them. So that's the gist, or that's the purpose of this tip. So in this example, an automobile weighing 2,840 newtons, about 640 pounds, is traveling at the speed of 300 miles per hour. What is the car's kinetic energy? Show your work. So, as you can see in this undesirable section, the car weighs 640 pounds, which is equivalent to almost 300 kilograms, which is quite small for an average car. So, if you think of it, it's not very realistic when we talk about 300 kilograms, since a lot of the insides of a car has a lot of parts. Then we need to take into account the weight of also the driver and the other persons inside the car. So it's not very realistic in a sense that we can't really apply it in a physics manner, something like that. So in order for it to follow this rule, we must change it. We need to like estimate something like close to an average size car. So in this desirable section, they changed it to 300 pounds, which is equivalent to an estimate of 1,500 kilograms. So just only the car, not entirely with the driver and the other person. So with this, we can already conclude that having this much weight of a car has a very is related to its kinetic energy when it goes through a certain speed. So it's the purpose of having true or having realistic figures and situations in making problem solving test items. Tip number 5, ask questions that elicits responses on which experts can agree that there can be one or more solutions. So in some cases, when we're making problem solving test items, there are some instances where the students can use any other solution but arrive to the same answer. So as a teacher, we can we need to um, we need to evaluate first what question are we going to ask um, to the students, and also consider it that their way of solving the solution and how they arrive the answer to the answer, which is anything regardless of what technique it is. We need to consider that in grading the questions that the students have already answered. So lastly, tip number 6, work through each problem before classroom administration to double check accuracy. So for it to be an effective assessment, might be summative or formative. So we need to double check just to clarify any discrepancies in the question itself, in order for the students also to not be confused of what is being asked on the problem itself. So I think that would be all in of my report. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.
Here is the advantages and disadvantages of problem-solving test items to be reported by Ms. Via Tangkison.
Advantages and disadvantages in problem-solving test items questions. Advantages. These kind of test items are good test format as they minimize guessing, measure instructional objects that focus on higher cognitive levels, and measure extensive amount of contents or topics. It means that these kind of test items are good as they are easy to memorize and focus attention on high-level cognitive skills such as reading comprehension and vocabulary. Disadvantages. There are also disadvantages or limitations in this type of test items. They require more time for teachers to construct, read, and correct and are prone to rater bias, especially when scoring rubrics or criteria are not available. It is therefore important that good quality problem-solving test items are constructed. It means that this sort of high-quality problem-solving tests are critical to student success in the classroom. It takes time for teachers to check or correct, especially when scoring rubrics or criteria aren't provided.
Here is our examples of problem-solving test items to be reported by Ms. Marinel Alvarez. Problem-solving test examples. So, when we say problem-solving test or exams, it comes in a variety of formats from multiple choice to short answer to long calculations. They frequently test your ability to apply the problem-solving skills you have learned in lectures, labs, and readings to new types of questions. So here are some examples of problem-solving tests. Example number 1. Mina has 5 more marbles than Christy. Christy has 2 more marbles than Seb. Altogether, they have 30 marbles. How many marbles does each child have? With this example, it's all about logical reasoning. The given situation or the given problem cannot be solved in our naked eye. And we have to think deeply about the solution of this one, following the process in solving this problem. Next, example number 2. Sarah plays a game. After 2 weeks, Sarah has 105 points. After the 3rd week, she has 135 points. Which of the following could be used to calculate the percentage increase in Sarah's point total? So here, we have the given, which is 105 points after 2 weeks, 135 points in 3rd weeks. So the question is that which of the following could be used to calculate the percentage increase in Sarah's point total? So here are the given choices. A equals 135 minus 105 over 135 times 100. B, 135 minus 105 over 105 times 100. C, 105 over 135 times 100. And letter D, we have 135 over 105 times 100. From this example, we can say that it is a multiple choice, but if we look deeper into it,
it's all about problem solving with the given numbers or quantity, which is 105 points, 135 points, and what we're going to find is to calculate the percentage increase in SAR's point total. So with these choices, we can say that letter A is the correct answer. Example number 3. Marcos ran a lemonade stand for 5 days. On the first day, he made $5. Every day after that, he made $2 more than the previous day. How much money did Marcos made in all after 5 days? So, in example number 3, it's all about what is asked, what are given, what is the number sentence, what operations to be used. It's more like that. Example number 4. The table below shows numbers placed into groups 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. In which groups would the following numbers belong? So we have here the given A 25, B is 46, and C is 269. So in order for us to know which group does these given numbers belong, we have the solution. So the pattern is the remainder when the number is divided by 6 determines the group. So sa letter A, we have 25 divided by 6 since 6 man ka groups is equal to 4 with the remainder 1. So since ang remainder niya is 1 man, so sa makita nato dre ang 1 is located at group 1. So next, letter B, 46 divided by 6 equals 7 with the remainder of 4. So here, since the remainder is 4, then we can say that it is located at group 4. Letter C, 269 divided by 6 equals 44 with a remainder of 5, which is located at group 5. We also have here problem solving test interview questions. So when we say problem solving test, it's not only about exams or tests, but also in an interview. So why is problem solving interview questions important? So problem solving interview questions assess how a candidate approaches difficult situations once they arise, and their answers show how candidates approach difficult situations, evaluate and analyze data to understand the source of problems, work under stressful and unexpected situations, and lastly, they react when their way of thinking is challenged. Here are examples of problem-solving interview questions. So example number 1. How would you deal with a customer who wasn't happy with your service, even though you haven't done anything wrong and it is the customer who has made the mistake? With this given problem, it is all about real life situations in which dili ta magamit og calculations or operations aron masulbad nga problem. So you have to think deeply on what would be the solution for this in accordance sa imong action nga buhaton about inani nga problem, or how would you react to this problem. So we have here the sample answer. No matter how upset
abrupt, or angry the customer is, it is up to the employee to make sure they are treated with respect. The best way to do this is to be attentive and show genuine concern for the problem. It is the role of an employee to turn a negative situation into a positive. If your efforts still fail, notify your supervisor as a final option. So next, example number 2. When you are faced with a problem, what do you do? For this question, the employers typically ask this question to understand what your problem-solving process looks like. They are looking for you to describe a logical problem-solving process that includes gathering information, analyzing the information, and making decisions based on what you have found. So, sa inani nga question or problem, given nga problem, dili sa John nga dili sa John siya nga sulbaron because it's about you kung unsay imong buhaton inani. So here is the example answer. When I am faced with a problem, I typically start by doing research or looking at examples of how this problem has been solved by others. From that research, I'm able to decide which approach to solving the problem works best for me and the organization. Then, I decide what actions need to be taken to solve the problem, and I start putting the process into motion while communicating with my managers and co-workers. Before I end my report, allow me to share to you the quote from Captain Jack Sparrow, which is, "The problem isn't the problem. The problem is your attitude about the problem." That could be all, and thank you.
That's all for our report about problem-solving test items. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. God bless us all.